Sorry, I'm a little bit late, but I got back from Dallas and my daughters are in town. So I had a little bit of a dinner celebration for my daughter Parker. It's her birthday. So knocked that out for the last couple hours. Quick flight home. Got home before 7 o'clock. And victorious flight celebration. Chargers 11 wins. I know it's not official. Figure out if the San Francisco 49ers can take care of the Colts tomorrow night, and then it will be official. But you get the sense with 11 wins and potential to have a 12-2 record or 10-2 record in conference. Chargers probably going to be in pretty good shape. I'm back to the breeze for tonight. Stuff works. It's late, and tastes good. Puts me in the right kind of mood, and it's good with sleep. A lot of cooperation today. Number one, Jags. Huge win for the Jags, and we felt like that was coming, right? Like you go through the Broncos list of, let me see if I can go to the standings real quick, just to kind of, because again, I'm just getting home. I went straight to a restaurant off the plane, so my apologies if I get some of this stuff wrong. But Chargers 8-2 conference record, Jags 8-2 conference record. So that's a little disconcerting. And they got the Colts and the Titans left, so. Chances are, if the Jags, I did not realize they were 8-2 in conference. So via the head-to-head and the conference record, I think they would end up winning out and getting the number one seed. But DJ and I were talking about it after the game. Potential for the Chargers, you could make a case. Kind of needed the Patriots to lose today based on their remaining schedule. And they end up squeaking that one out over the Ravens. But when you're finishing with the Jets and Dolphins, you feel pretty good about them. Probably ended up with that number one seed. But point being, we talked about this and some people said it was a long shot, that it's Pollyanna, pie in the sky. But I said, look, if you can just get the Broncos to stumble once, now the Chargers control their own destiny. Beat the Texans next week, a Texans team that did not look good tonight against the Raiders. Ashton Genty, with two explosives out of like a 50-yard run, a 50-yard reception. You saw the way the Chargers ran the ball tonight. That's really coming together. So I think the idea that, and look, I'm kind of scrambling. I'm all over the place. So sorry, everybody, to get this thing started, just to sort of get some of my thoughts going. I know there's a lot of you, and I want to make sure I get to all of you guys. So I want to just get right to your, comments quicker than possible. But just, my whole point was the Broncos didn't, I know they won 11 games in a row, but when you just kind of watched, the Packers are up 9, and that weird interception. I mean, it wasn't weird, but, you get the injury to Watson followed up with the immediate injury to Parsons, and it just kind of unravels, right? Commanders, they called a perfect play for a 2-point conversion that's going to win that game. Benito ends up getting a hell of a pass rush and tips it. The Raiders is a 10-7 game. The Texans is 18-15. Think about the Jets, man. They had the same number of Justin Fields took the same amount of sacks as he had completions, and they barely won that game, 13-11. So you just felt like this game was coming. And so I'm so happy that it's here. And now the Broncos can get the thing to squeeze a little bit tight now. And who knows, maybe for the second time since they started doing it, we get ourselves that Sunday night game, and it's for the AFC West and potentially the 2 seed or the 3 seed, however you do. Maybe the 1 seed if you get lucky and you catch a break, and it's something that the Chargers are still in the chase. The Chargers are alive, 6-0 for the first time in the division if they can beat the Broncos in Week 18. First time ever in the history of the franchise. They have never gone 6-0 in the division, so they got that in play, and they still have the 1 seed in play if they can win out and finish 13-4. But just start with the fact they're 11-4. You lose Rashawn Slater in training camp. You lose Joe Alt after in the middle of Week 4, and then you lose him again for the remainder of the season 4 weeks later. 2 All-Pro level tackles. You lose your first-round pick running back in the middle of Week 5, and he just returns 2 weeks ago or last week. In Week 15, you lose your other bell cow running back that you thought was going to be this hammer in the 4-minute drill, early in the season. And here we are at 11-4. First time they've had back-to-back 10-plus win seasons in since 06-07. We said that last week. And then today, what was the nugget that Brian gave me? I can't remember. that first time they've had back-to-back 11-win seasons. I don't know how long it's been. It's been a long time, though. I'll just get you some fun little stats here real quick. It's kind of wild. The Chargers, I don't know if you listened to the broadcast, and I don't know if they said it on TV, but some of the stuff that we were sharing, Chargers have not lost at AT&T now. 4-0 at AT&T Stadium. They haven't lost in Dallas since 1990. So that's kind of fun. Coming into this game, the series totals, Cowboys 296 to the Chargers 295 were the series totals through the 13 games that they had played. Some other stuff, the Chargers fell behind in this game in time of possession. And remember, the Chargers are the number 2 time of possession team in the league, over 32 minutes per game, came in second in that category. In the first quarter, Dallas held the ball for 12 and a half minutes or 11 and a half minutes to the Chargers 3.5 minutes. That was the edge. 11 and a half to 3.5 in the first quarter. After that, the Chargers held the ball for 31 minutes compared to the Cowboys. Did I say Lions? I'm sorry. I'm scrambling. Compared to the Cowboys, holding it for 13 minutes the rest of the way. Like, just the flip that this defense had in the second half to pitch a shutout against the number 1 overall offense, the number 4 scoring offense, the number 1 passing offense, one of the best offensive lines in the league. Dak Prescott had only been sacked 24 times coming into this one. Contrast that with Herbert having been sacked 50 times. And by the way, kudos to the offensive line. I know that there was no Quentin Williams today, and this has not been a great pass rush in the league, but it's the first time Herbert hasn't been sacked this season. You have to go back to last year for the last time he had not been sacked in a game, and yet Omari Sawyer go down. I mean, they're playing with the fifth and sixth offensive tackles. 5th and 6th, right? Slater Alt, Sawyer, and Pipkins. And now you're down to Austin Deculus and Bobby Hart, and Herbert doesn't get sacked. I love Coach in the pregame. We were talking about the 6th offensive lineman stuff, and he said, yeah, it's really more of a tight end. He basically just took, Trevor Penning's so athletic that he can take Tucker Fisk's spot at 6'7", 315 pounds and still function and be that athletic and run all over the place. I love, just the extra help now that Greg Roman's put into it. That's another thought to get to as I'm just doing stream of conscious stuff. We talked about so many people were coming after Roman last week, and I get it, man. It was a slog. It was a rock fight against the Chiefs and against the Eagles. And even I said the only stat I care about is winning, and I'll get to that in a little bit here, and why I'm not crazy about that. Because sometimes, you need to do more sometimes in order to continue to win, and that's what the offense did today, right? They had to trade punches in that first half because that Dallas offense was a buzzsaw early on, scoring 17 points in the first half, and Chargers were able to stay right with them. Not an issue at all. So that was kind of what we're talking about. It's not just about the win. This time the offense had to pick up the defense as they were trying to get settled in. Then Jesse Minter pitches a shutout in the second half. Herbert has his first 300-yard game since the Colts game. I think it was his 4th highest total of the year. I wrote it down here. His 31st 300-plus yard game. That is trailing only Patrick Mahomes and Dan Marino. His 52nd 2-plus touchdown game. He passed John Hadle today for the Charger quarterback with the most games throwing and rushing for a touchdown. He now has 12. How about Q? His first 100-yard game of the season. First one since that Raiders game last year when he had like 170 in week 18, I think it was. It was the first time that they rarely give up 100 yards. George Pickens, he's so good, man. He kind of had his way with Cam Hart a little bit there. Thule gets another sack. He's up to 13 now. Let me see if I have any other fun little stats before I get to your comments, and I promise I'm going to get to them super quick. Get a little bit of that in me. Because I think a lot of you guys are going to make the points. And gals. I know there's guys and gals out there. So appreciate all of you. We'll get to all of that. Let me see. Time of possession, second, average 32-44. They end up. Okay, here we go. This is fun. We went through all of these. They checked every box. Chargers are now 10-1 when they score at least 20. They are now 9-0 when they allow 20 or fewer. They are 9-1 if they turn the ball over one time or fewer. They are 9-1 when Herbert passes for over 199 yards. They are 10-1 when they average at least 5.6 per attempt. I think today they averaged over 10. And they are now 11-1 when they rush for 25 or more, with 25 or more rushing attempts. Like today was just epic day. And the key was 3rd and 6 or fewer. The Chargers are so good on 3rd down. We know overall they're 46%, but check this out. 3rd and 1, 82%. 2, 54%. 3rd and 3, 62%. 3rd and 4, 58%. And then it starts trickling down from there. So if you can stay under 3rd and 6, they are best in the league, convert 61% of the time, and they were able to do that. And I think that's something that's sustainable with Omari and Hampton. I don't, like, you watch that guy, man. This is one of the best. He's going to end up being one of the best backs in the league. He's going to be in the conversation if he can stay healthy year in, year out, especially when you get Alton Slater out there as the best running back in the league. You just see the power. He does not go down on first contact. He's carrying 2 and 3 guys, and then there's the explosiveness, man. He had a couple of those runs where he hit the corner and he's gone. And that's what Jim Harbaugh football is, man. When you've got a hammer like that in a 4-minute drill, and how about a 14-play drive, a 16-play drive? I mean, think about that. At the end of the first quarter, they are down 11.5 to 3.5 minutes in time of possession, and they end up winning 34.5 minutes to 20. They win that thing by 10 minutes, and they were down 11.5 to 3.5 after the first quarter. And that's all. I mean, 7.3 yards per play. Hampton averaging, what was he averaging? 5.3 per carry, had the long of 18 and the touchdown. How about Quentin, man? Like, nobody's talking about Quentin. Remember, he was a punchline. Like, he had the NFL memes on IG and all that. Like, he was their number one go-to punchline. And the guy's got 8 touchdowns in back-to-back seasons. 100 yards, explosive gains, man. Those 2 big plays, the 50-yarder was ridiculous, keeping his body under control and getting his feet down. And then, of course, the one-handed grab when the corner step for step with him for the touchdown. What a game by him. I love Trey Harris, man. If he doesn't break his finger, I bet he has a 100-yard game. Or whatever he did, jammed his finger. I bet he ends up with a 100-yard game there. He was sensational. Herbert running the ball was fantastic. What was he? 8 carries for 42 yards and a touchdown. His second rushing touchdown of the season. Let me see if I can get you some more fun ones. Let's see. 11. Remember this? Was it 2 or 3 years ago that the Chargers were like the worst team in the league and could never score on their opening drive? Today, 11 now out of 15 games. 11 out of 15 games they have scored on their opening drive. And it was just the 4th time they've allowed their opponent to score on the opening drive. It's a pretty fun one. The Chargers now had their 2nd highest point total of the year. That now means against the Cowboys and that defense, the Chargers, the Panthers, the Bears, the Lions, and the Vikings all had their 2nd highest scoring outputs of the season. The Cardinals, the Giants, the Packers, and the Broncos had their highest. So I bring that up not to say, don't get too excited, but yeah, Greg Roman can get it going, man. If you can protect Justin Herbert, he can dial it up and he can get an offense going. And you saw that today at how balanced it was. Herbert throws 29 times, they run 33 times, they average, like we said, a monstrous 7.3 yards per play. There's explosives all over the place. There's quick game. There's easy buttons. Everything was out there today. And, he's not going up against a Super Bowl caliber defense with all of that talent out there like the Eagles. Those cornerbacks that are, I think Quinyon was 2nd. Cooper DeJean was 6th in the league in opposing quarterback rating against. He's not going up against Jordan Davis and Jalen Phillips. And he's not playing in Kansas City where it's 9 degrees out on the field. He's going up against a team that's had issues on defense, and he showed you what it can look like And we saw that against the Steelers. We saw it against the Vikings. We saw it against the Dolphins. It's been there. So I think a lot of the people, and, some of the stuff that I had been saying during the week about Greg was, man, I just said I'd love to see it just get easier. I feel like it needs to be a little bit easier. And I think you saw that today. Herbert was protected, not a single sack. We mentioned that. And he was dealing, man. He was dealing for 300 and 2 touchdowns, no interceptions, did not take a sack, and gets out of there with a passer rating of 132.8. And how about the defense pitching a shutout in the second half, man? That's impressive. 2 fourth down stops, 1 on a 4th and 1. What was that play? It was Lipke. That Rhett Caldwell, I think, was the one that got that big stop on that one. So just really fun game. And now just get ready for the Texans on Saturday, man. Again, you got a Cowboys team that's averaging 29 per game. They held them to 17. Last week, they hold the Chiefs to 13. They hold the Eagles to 19. It's a team that's humming right now. Very, very excited about it. And I don't think there's any reason to think that they can't that this AFC West is not still very, very much in play with how tight a lot of these Bronco games have been and what they've looked like against some of the better defenses in the league. So excited. Can't wait to see all of the Bolt people, and there were a lot of Bolt fans in Dallas, by the way, man. Fantastic to meet a handful of you. They were walking around last night. We were staying at a hotel right across the street from AT&T Stadium, and I saw a ton of Charger fans walking around when we went out to dinner. And then again today, there were a bunch of you guys at AT&T Stadium. So way to go, man. I'm sure I forgot some stuff in there, but let's get to you, the people, because I tend to wait too long. And again, I'm drinking Breeze. I really like these things, if you're interested. Here we go. Let's get rolling. And if anything else pops into my brain, I'll bring it up. Bolt up. We got, happy birthday, P. Yeah, that's for my daughter, Parker. Thank you, El Pancho. Appreciate you. Alfonso with an LFG. I agree. Dark Star, one of my favorites to see live. Never saw it in 1970, if that's what that's related to. But I did see it a couple times in the late 80s and early 90s. Robert Flores, LFG, I'm with you. Dubs. Big Dubs, happy birthday. Thank you, Jacob. Bolt the F up. A lot of LFGs on here. Great win tonight. Agree with you. Money. How about those Bears? Yeah, that was a good one, Dark Star. That was a lot of fun, man. We were watching that game at dinner last night. And we had finished our meal, and then we were all just sitting around like, all right, well, let's go overtime. And again, people are just so quick to judge. And Caleb was a rookie last year. I thought he had a good rookie season. Guy won the Heisman Trophy, for God's sakes. We knew what he looked like in college and how good he was. And Jaden Daniels has a great season, and Drake May looks good, and everyone's piling on Caleb. And now it's like, yeah, it looks like he's the guy, man. That throw to DJ Moore, and he had a bunch of freaking rockets too that were getting dropped all over the place by his teammates, and nobody brings that up. But yeah, that was impressive. Chris, let's go you. To heck with let's go me. Crocky. Hey, that was from Australia. My man Castor. I've told this story before, but I love telling it because it still sticks in my brain. I remember it like it was yesterday. We had an Australian intern that worked with the Chargers. I think it might have been my first year. And I think we were in Kansas City, if I remember right. We were all just kind of hanging out the night before, like a Friday night or something, in like this shoddy little hotel bar. And she was talking about, everybody was being stupid and trying to do their Australian accent. Raw, crocky. She's like, hey, if you really want to know how to say something and sound exactly like an Australian, say these 3 words: my bull fine, my bull fine. And she's like, say it really fast. And so we all are playing along, and we're like, all right, my bull fine. She's like, that's how we say mobile phone. My bull fine. So there you go. You want to sound like an Aussie. At least that's one. Update on Sawyer. I was surprised, Junior, that it was a hammy. You don't typically see that on offensive linemen. So we know hammies can be tricky, right? You can get over them real quick. Sometimes they can dog you for a while. So Coach did not have any updates on any of the guys that were injured after the game in his post-game presser. So it was a gnarly, we call it the Pyrrhic victory, right? You get the win on the field, but you lose, some long-term situations. St. Juste looked like that right arm was really, really an issue. Kamani obviously had to go straight into the tunnel to get that neck looked at. You had Sawyer with the hammy, and the biggest one is probably Dante Jackson with that groin. So let's hope he's okay because, man, he's been so good this year. Welcome home. Great game. Thank you, Linda. I appreciate that. Money from my man Brian. Jags beat the Donkeys. You're right about that. Weber. The division is open. Well, the Chargers control it. So I know they're a game back, but they control the division now. The Broncos do not. If the Chargers win out, they win the division. Now, the Broncos, I guess you could say control it, because if they win out, they win the division. So, but we could get this thing that comes down to that game in Denver, Week 18. Man, would that be something if that were the Sunday nighter. And I have no idea what the weather will look like in Denver. I know it's been a little warm there lately, but oof, that could be kind of cool. Whatever that would be, January 5th or something like that. January 4th, Sunday night game, just like we had against the Raiders. Winner gets the division, loser ends up as like the 5 seed. Big win from Smithick. Win the division. Exactly right, Omar. It's in play. I love this. All these. How about the hi from North Carolina? Been waiting for your recap, Saloa. Thank you. Appreciate that. Sorry it's so late. I mean, my gosh, it's almost 1 a.m. your time. So thank you for that. Love the Jags, as do I. Broncos are frauds. I don't think they're frauds, kid. I just think their record, being the number 1 seed, they've really got a lot of breaks, much like the Chiefs did last year. And look, they rode that all the way to a Super Bowl appearance. They were 12-0 in those 1-score games. And look at this year, right? 1-7 in 1-score games. So those are just weird when you see so many of them and you see just weird, fluky outcomes. You're like, that's going to catch up to you sooner or later. And I think you saw that. But, it also speaks to what the Jags have turned into ever since that game against the Chargers. They've now won 6 in a row. The offense looks like it's really, really hard to slow down. Walk your bike. I agree with that. O-line stepped up. You're right, Austin. O-line was great today. They didn't give up a sack. They blocked really well in the run game. I thought it was a heck of a team effort today. Heck of a team effort. My wife, do you really think we'll get past the first round of the offense? Do I really think we'll get past the first round with this offensive line? I do, Brandon. And I think it's because they've kind of, the Sawyer thing sucks, but I do think now that they've added that 6th offensive lineman, and had Sawyer not got hurt, I think we would have seen some 7. I think you would have seen Penning and Deculus out there. I think they're leaning into it. It reminds me a lot. I know people are tired of hearing it, but it reminds me a lot of when I was calling Jim Harbaugh's Stanford teams. And we'd see him get out there with 6 O-linemen, 2 tight ends, and they would just pound it, and it worked. And I think Omari and Hampton is that talented of a back that you can do that. And this defense is playing lights out right now. I know it was a little leaky there in the early goings, but again, this is the number 1 offense. George Pickens and CeeDee Lamb are a load, and there are almost no teams. If I go to the standings right now, do the Broncos have CeeDee Lamb, Jake Ferguson, and George Pickens? No. Do the Patriots? No. Do the Jaguars? No. Steelers? No. Bills? No. Texans? No. See what I'm saying? Like, nobody's got those kind of weapons that you're going to face in the playoffs. And we know how good this Chargers pass defense is. So, what was the stat I read to you at the start? After this game, the Chargers are now 10-1 when they score 20 points, 9-0 when they allow 20 or fewer. I think you can look at a number of those teams in the postseason they might match up with that you could say, yeah, I could totally see them holding the Steelers to less than 20, the Broncos to less than 20, the Patriots to less than 20, the Texans to less than 20. I could see that from all those teams, for sure. So I think that's why that you could get out of the first round, even with the issues that they have on their offensive line. Shout out to you for my episode on Nathan for you. Thank you. Not Adam Vasquez. One of the highlights of my entertainment career, the claw of shame. And yeah, one of the few things that my kids are like, wow, that's really cool, Dad. I didn't know you did that. And it, makes me a lot more popular with their friends. But that was a great time. Nathan Fielder's freaking brilliant. Caleb, money, great calls, and the broadcast was on a hike. Limited service, could only listen to you and DJ. Worth it. Thank you. Appreciate that. DJ's the best, man. So many people to extend and re-sign. I don't think we'll have a lot of money to spend on O-line. Do you see us moving on from any big names on the team? I don't, Trent. They're going to have a lot of money. They're going to have about $100 million bucks. But you're right. They got to extend Thule. They got to extend Owe. I would imagine there's probably a new Derwin James contract in there. So that's going to cost a lot of money. Thule's going to be expensive, man. He's a top 5 end in the league right now with his 13th sack, with all those pressures, how versatile he is. That's going to cost some money, man. And when you consider the top of that market is 42 million bucks, you're probably talking 30 million or more per year for Thule. And I would say Owe is probably going to be sniffing somewhere around 20. And if you want to bring Khalil Mack back on that same deal, you're talking 15 to 18 million bucks for him. So there you go. That's a big chunk of it taken up with just your 3 edge rushers. I do think there's some free agents out there. Number 1 on my list, I don't know how good of a center class it is. I was talking to some people today about that, as a matter of fact. I think guards, it's a pretty good guard draft class, but you're going to have to re-sign Zion. I don't think there's any question you want to bring him back after what he's put together this year. Absolutely, I think he's coming back. So that's, and then remember, you got Zion, Slater, Alt. Slater's already been paid. Alt's on a rookie contract. I think you're probably looking for a guard and a center, would be my guess. How about Linderbaum? That'd be kind of cool. Go out and get him. Bring him out here. So I think everything else, I think you're in pretty good shape. I think you still got Dante Jackson for 1 more year, if I remember right. Let's go to the little SPO track here. Dante Jackson. That would be huge if they still have him. Yeah, dude. 2 years, 13 million bucks. That's a contract of the freaking century with how well he's playing. They got him for $8.5 million bucks next year. Talk about a bargain. Dude's playing his tail off. So secondary's in good shape. Remember, they just extended Elijah. Like I said, you're going to have to probably redo the Derwin deal. Your safeties are good. Bring back Tony Jefferson. I'm all about bringing Unk back. You got R.J. Mickens. You got some youth there. Obviously, you've got the youth at corner with Cam Hart and Tarheeb, and Dante is still locked up. Linebackers, going to have to do a day-on deal, but I think you might be able to get away with that and let him play on the 4th year and then figure it out. If you got to franchise him or extend him or something along those lines. I think that would just kind of depend on what kind of deal they're looking for. And, interior, I'd love to redo a deal with Tier for sure. I think you got to try to bring him back, bring Hand back. So I think it's just a lot of returning pieces. Your wide receivers are good. Tight ends covered. Like, running back, great. Kamani and Omari and Hampton both on rookie deals. Like, they're in good shape, a lot of these positions. So control our destiny. You're right, Jose. Why do you think we found this oddly today, Zach? I think it's just really because of because of Tucker. I think if Tucker Fisk is healthy, that he gets a lot of those Will Dissly snaps instead of Will as the blocking tight end. So he's just taken Tucker Fisk snaps, and I think Justin trusts him a lot more in the passing game than Tucker Fisk. So you know how Justin is, man. He is a equal opportunity distributor. He does not care what the name on the back of your jersey is. If you're open, he's going to throw it to you, and if you catch it, he's going to throw it to you again. And so I think you just saw those things available to Will. And because what he came into the game. Let me see. He came into the game with, where are you, Will? 6 targets, 5 catches, 44 yards. He had 3 targets, 3 catches, 28 yards in this one. So 5 catches coming in, got 3 in this one alone. That, Zach, is why I think we saw him, just because he was in there for Tucker Fisk. Reasons we lost, the line cannot protect against any pass rush. Well, Brandon, I'm not saying that this offensive line is a good matchup for the Texans defense. It's not. But until we see it, they weren't favored against the Eagles. They weren't favored against the Chiefs. They weren't favored against the Cowboys. Everybody's been trying to write this team off and spell their demise, and all they do is step up. There's 2 sides to that coin, and the other side of the coin is the defense. And if the other team can't score and the Chargers are struggling to score, kind of helps to have the best kicker in the league, Mr. Automatic, Cam Dicker, who's good from 60 and in, and you feel like he's never going to miss a field goal. So you've got that in your favor. You've got an opportunistic defense that is tied for the league lead in interceptions, that is one of the top 5 sack units in the league. Like, it works both ways. So, this is a team that can win a rock fight. Some teams can't, but this team can. You can pack a defense, you can pack a running game, and I think you're starting to see that running game come alive. And once that happens, now you can kind of neutralize a pass rush, because they can't get on their toes so much, because you might get gashed in the run game when you're trying to come upfield and the Chargers are running right by you. So that's why it's so important these next 2 weeks. I think just to write off the Texans game is crazy. I mean, look at what they did against the Raiders today. Did I miss something? Was that impressive? Or did they really struggle and get a little bit lucky to get out of there with a win? I mean, that's ultimately what I'm looking at. It's a team that was up 23-14, 23-21 with 5.5 minutes left in that game, and they didn't score again. So Geno Smith threw for 2 touchdowns and 200 yards. Ashton Jeanty ran for 128 and a tug. So, yeah, man, I don't think there's any reason to feel like that's insurmountable. But we'll certainly have an idea of what it could look like in the playoffs, because you got 2 of the best defenses in the league in Denver and Houston to finish out the season. O-line looked great, sure did. And that's the difference, right? O-line looks good, and now Herbert looks different. He's bouncing around out there. He's slinging it, man. How about that shovel pass? Just the creativity, because of how comfortable he was out there. Don't think it's crazy to say Herbert's the best QB in the league. I don't think that's crazy either. I think he's always in that conversation. But, people like taking shots at him. And whatever, I don't think he cares. But when he has time, you see what it looks like. When he's got time, he's one of the best passers. He's distributing 23 of 29 out there for 300 yards, average 10.3. I mean, to throw 29 balls and to average 10.3 per throw, 2 touchdowns, no picks, not to mention adding 42 yards. Yeah, he was one of the best quarterbacks in the league. But again, it's Cowboys defense. Look at what J.J. McCarthy looked like against him last week. So I think it's also important to keep it in perspective, but I think that's what it can look like. If you're not facing the Eagles pass rush, if you're not facing Chris Jones, if you're not facing, some of those better pass rushers in the league, then yeah, that's what it can look like. Yes, Smithwick, QJ was on fire today. I want to win the Division 2, Kid Biggs. Linda, you said AT&T is your favorite stadium, better than SoFi. Yes, I do like it better than SoFi. What is it? It feels like Singapore, man. There isn't a speck of dirt anywhere in that place. It is spotless. It is impressive how clean it is. The concourses are massive. The ceilings are 30 feet high, and the hallways are 3 times the size of any other football stadium you go to. It's just built so well. It's beautiful. It's the scoreboard is awesome. It's just this massive screen. It's not sort of the ribbon that's a little narrow, where it's just gigantic, right? People are so friendly. Today, we get off the bus, and they always let us out right at the visitors' locker room. And as we get off, I say, hey, just remind me which direction is the press box. Sean is like, no problem, Matt. Looks at my ID. He's like, no problem, Matt. Let me see them. I'm going to take you there right now. Guy just ends up walking with us the whole way, up 7 floors, through a couple different doors. All right, it opens the door for us to get into our booth. Here we are. That's just Dallas. That Texas hospitality it's a beautiful place, man. I cannot recommend it enough. Yes, Smithy, Raiders. What are they now? 2-13? Family, trust, respect. Let's close these 2 games out. I agree. Yep, 21 on that Texas D. 21 from the Raiders. Ashton Jeanty, career game. Let's see. Heron looked incredible. Oh, Hampton. Rob, I think it's probably just auto-corrected you. A glimpse of what he looks like with the O-line protecting. Yeah, Hampton's a big deal, man. That is a big deal to have him back looking like that. You can win games in the playoffs with a dominant running game. Look at what the Eagles did last year with Saquon Barkley. If Hampton looks good enough in pass pro, I'd love to see him with more usage. Tough to do against Houston. We'll find out, Willie. We'll find out. We have to root against Phil Rivers tomorrow night to clinch a playoff spot. Yeah. But you know what? We can root for Phil to have a great outing and lose the game, just like last week. Hey, way to go, Phil. Drove him down, threw a touchdown pass, game-winning field goal with 40-some seconds left, and then your defense blew it. So let's just have that same thing again. Raymond, thank you, Matt. Appreciate you, Raymond. Thank you for saying that. I appreciate that. They are not a great team. Texans also did that with Davis Mills, too. No slight to Mills. Ethan, you can only play the team in front of you. Everybody was complaining about what this offense looked like. And again, when you're not going up against the defending Super Bowl champs, the 7-time participants in the AFC Championship game, and 5-time Super Bowl participant, 3-time Super Bowl winners, like, it's going to look a little different when you're taking on those guys. Outdoors in 9 degrees versus controlled environment, not a great defense. Let's see what you can do. And it was a track meet early on, and they were trading blows. The fact that they end up going, up 21-17 at the end of the at half, and then they shut them out 13-0 in the second half. Like, that's just what you want to see. Yeah, it's not a good defense. What can you do? Well, second highest point total of the season. That's what you can do. So, defense locked them up in the second half. Play calling to the guys stepping up. Both. I think that's both Millie D. It's a combination. Look, they came up huge, right, with fourth down stops, punching that fumble out on that Joe Milton scramble, and it just felt like the coverage was a little bit stickier in the second half. They started to get a little more of a pass rush because the running game wasn't really working in that second half. And once that happened, then it's like, okay, now we got them one-dimensional. I thought the run D was really good today, really, really good. What were their numbers? So you had 9 for 34, Javonte Williams. And you had the 2 sweeps from Cavante for 13. Dak scrambled for 14. Malik Davis, 8 for 23. Yeah, I mean, Joe Milton's 1 for 7. So 23 carries for 91 yards. We'll take that. And I think that's what helped. Once that run game wasn't working anymore, it just kind of got a little one-dimensional, and they were able to put a little bit more pressure on Dak. Brian, who would I rather the Chargers face in the playoffs? I don't think it matters. I think it's wide open. I'm comfortable. I do think, look, based on what's in there right now as it stands, Texans 7, Bills, Chargers are your Texans, Bills, and Chargers are your wild card teams. Steelers, Jags, Patriots, Broncos are your division leaders right now. I'm fine facing any of them. I think. And look, the Bills really struggled against Cleveland today, so who knows? I think all of these teams are flawed. It's not, think about what it used to look like up there 1 through 4, right? It was Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow, Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes. It's like, that's what you were looking at. And now it's Bo Nix, Drake May, Trevor Lawrence, 42-year-old Aaron Rodgers, Josh Allen, CJ Stroud. And Justin Herbert. Those are your quarterbacks in the playoffs right now. I think take anything, man. Just I would hope the Bills stay a wild card team and stay behind the Chargers so they would never have to travel there to play them in Buffalo. Loved Greg Roman's offense today. Yeah, give him his flowers today, man. He called a heck of a game. Loved all the Matlock and the Trevor Penning stuff. It was fantastic. Coming on at the right time. Yes, we are. Chargers just won their 4th game in a row. Feels pretty good, right? Feels pretty good. Knock off the Raiders, knock off the Eagles, and then the Chiefs on a short week, bounce back, go to Dallas, smoke the Cowboys and double them up 34-17. It's peaking, man. Now just get a win over the Texans and carry all that momentum into Week 18 and see what you got. Not going to lie, when we lost Slater, thought the team was done. Yeah, dude, I mean, back-to-back 11-win seasons from this coaching staff. Back-to-back 11-win seasons with no tackles, with losing losing both your running backs for over half of the season. I mean, it's been sensational. Justin with both tackles back. Yeah, that's what we're thinking about, Linda. I mean, think about what this thing, we win 11, 12, maybe even 13 games this year. Next year, you could be talking about 14-3, 15-2 type stuff if those tackles stay healthy. If the Chargers win the division, could Herbert be top 3 in MVP voting? I think he would have to put together 2 more games like today. It would have to be another 3 total touchdown day, 300 yards. So he crosses the 4,000 passing yard, crosses 30 touchdowns. They end up as either the number 1 or the number 2 seed. But I'll tell you this, Brody, to me, that's where Jim Harbaugh wins Coach of the Year. If they end up 13-4, I'm sorry. I'm sure you're excited about Mike Vrabel and the turnaround in New England. Liam Cohen in his rookie year with the Jags. Sean Payton with the Broncos. I don't think there's any question when you think about the attrition and the injuries that have hit this team, Harbaugh should be a lock for Coach of the Year. Ben Johnson in Chicago, Mike McDonald in Seattle, none of them have had to deal with the adversity. 9 different starting offensive line combinations, 16 different offensive line combinations total this year is what he's had to deal with. So to me, and going to Brazil, right, in week 1, sweeping the division for the first time in Charger history, like all that stuff. That's where I think it should really come into play. Herbert could be in the MVP conversation. I think you want numbers, right? Like, I think ultimately, why isn't he? That's probably why, because you're looking at, the other stats where you have the people that are favored. Matthew Stafford's got 4,200 passing yards and 40 touchdowns. Pretty hard to overcome that. Herbert's 31.91 with 20. That was before today, because he's now got 25 touchdowns and he's 34.91. So he's almost at 3,600 with 25 touchdowns. So Matthew Stafford has 15 more touchdown passes and 600 more passing yards. That's going to be pretty tough to overcome. But I think when you get past that, Drake May at what? He's got 20. They have the same. Herbert has more touchdown passes than Drake May. He has a little bit fewer passing yards, but Drake May's got the 71% completion percentage. So I do think he could work his way in there, though. And then I think you look at Josh Allen and just the percentage of offense that he is, right? With the rushing stuff, double-digit rushing touchdowns to go with his 25. The Herbert MVP stuff would be a little tougher, but you know what? You win the division as the most sacked, the most pressured, the most hit quarterback in the league, and that to me is MVP caliber. Herbert MVP, no doubt. I did have some Texas barbecue. Actually, no, I didn't, Caleb. I ended up going to a steakhouse last night, Cup and Bourbon. It was a team dinner, and it was delicious. Filet was probably the best cut of meat I've had in a long time. Again, Brian, I think we already went through that. Who would I rather play? I'm not scared of any of these teams. I think it's a totally wide-open AFC this year. Harbaugh effect. Herbert, literal definition of the most valuable player. Well, yeah, look. This team's got 11 wins. Where are they without Justin Herbert? How many times has he thrown this team on his back and willed them to victory? How about those passes today? A lot of Herbert MVP. I love it, man. Have not won the AFC West since 2009. Let's get it. Root against Rivers tomorrow. St. Juste, Caleb, I'm not sure if he's going to be okay. Second half was impressive for the D. Defense lights out. Can't wait until Saturday. I hope I see all you guys out there, man. Let's pack that place with Charger fans. Run the ball, limit turnovers, good defense. Exactly, Rob. Look at those. Let me go through the drive chart. Play-by-play. Touchdown 337, touchdown 419, touchdown 749. Those are their first 3 possessions. How about a field goal? 6 plays, 3 minutes. A field goal, 14 plays, 76 yards, 8 minutes for that field goal drive to put them up 2 scores. Take that all day. And then a quick one, 6 plays, 46-yard touchdown. And then the one to close it out, 6 plays, 3 minutes, 27 seconds. I mean, that's what we're talking about, man. Run the ball. Don't turn it over. Anything that ends with a kick or a touchdown, we'll take it. Punt, kick, or score. No turnovers. I know, Brandon, we keep losing O-linemen every single week. This week it was Sawyer. It stinks. Millie D, I think if you're complaining about offensive penalties, you're just getting a little nitpicky. There were a couple holds in there and stuff, but, what were they? I can't. I don't remember that many penalties. I mean, 4 for 34. You'll sign up for that every day. 4 for 34. Got a shot. Question: how come our corners don't just push the receivers out of bounds near sidelines when they're juggling the ball instead of tackling? Yeah, I mean, I guess you could try to do that. I think they do. I mean, I think ultimately they try to do that. You just want to make sure, you don't whiff. Like, you want to wrap and drop. Like, just form tackle and drop them. You don't want to try to take a shot and go low or try to deliver a blow. You do want to wrap and just ensure you make that tackle. Last time we hosted a playoff game must have been, no, I think it was later than 2000. Well, no, if that's the last time they won the division. Man, I just feel like I used to see it all the time, right? But I think you're right. That was just the aughts when they were in that stretch from like 2004 through 2009 when it seemed like the Chargers were always hosting playoff games. Yep, Zay Flowers with another costly fumble. No doubt about that. And, again, think about, and I'm as guilty as anyone on that. I love the way Zay Flowers played at Boston College. He's had fumble issues, man, critical fumble issues. And, you're talking about down 28-24 and you fumble away an opportunity to win that game. So, give Quentin some love, man. He's a good kid. He works. He's a good guy. He's not a kid. He's a good dude. He works hard, great character, and you got back-to-back 8-touchdown seasons, and he made some crazy grabs today, and nobody's going to say a damn word because they just want him to be the poster child of bad hands, and that's just not the case anymore. So way to go, Q. Trey Harris, man, he was off to a huge start. He was going to have a monster of a game. You could tell they were like, this is the Trey game. Let's go. And I had those 4 quick grabs and then busted up his finger. And, we just didn't really see him after that. So I hope he's okay because he is really starting to come on. Sorry, I'm trying to get back to my box score here because I lost it as I was going to look to see what it looked like with Zay Flowers there. Let's go Bolts. Q greater than Zay Flowers. Look, Q is... He's playing, and you got Ladd McConkey, who was in that Zay Flowers role. Cam Hart, look, Pickens is a handful, man. Pickens is a lot. Keenan looks great. I know, man. It's the release, Millie. His releases are so stupid. And that's something that I credit Greg Roman with, man. There was so much quick game today. So many of those Keenan, Ladd, Keenan, Ladd, Trey Harris stuff was just quick slants and just quick, easy button, quick wins, get the yak. And there was so much of that today. And, man, it looked so good out there. Coming for revenge on Saturday, I agree. Excited about which game was the one. Maybe, I don't know if you're asking for Herbert passing yards. Colts, he threw for 420. Today was the most yardage overall by the offense. Haven't been this excited about our team since 2007. Play calling for G. Rowe. There we go. Don't feel like there's any juggernauts. I agree. Hampton, yeah, he's been close to breaking it, man. Really breaking it. But he's getting those 15s and 18s in there. Give Hampton more touches. I think they will, Robert. I think they're just kind of welcome. They're kind of like easing him back in. Marion, a little bit of Ladanian in him. That's saying something now. Yeah, I would. Well, the problem with the penning hold, you can see he's got the jersey and he's tugging the jersey. And anytime you grab that fabric, it kind of gets pulled. You'll see it like kind of just get pulled over the shoulder pads. And when the referees see that, it's just like an immediate flag. So if you can get him like here and you're pulling here, you can kind of get away with it a little bit easier. But he ended up having the guy like right here and it just kind of yanked it. And whenever that shoulder pad shows, it's really hard to get away from that. Schematics on this Houston game coming up. On offense, to me, it's a lot of quick game and running. You do not want Herbert taking 7-step drops and having these long developing routes downfield. I think you want to run. You want to establish the run, slow that pass rush down. It's probably a lot of 6-0, Trevor Penning. I'm hoping that it's Sawyer there at left tackle and not Deculus, but it's still going to be a lot of that 6-0 lineman, a lot of Matlock, and that would be my guess. Excuse me. That would be my guess. Defensively, Nico Collins is a load. They run the ball. I think the Texans run the ball pretty well. What they do today, Chubb had 5.5 No, they did not run the ball well at all. But, that's the one thing the Raiders do well is they are pretty darn good against the run. So they held him to 83 on 26 carries. Do that, man. C.J. Stroud needed 35 attempts for 187 yards. Nico's a problem. He's really good. Christian Kirk is starting to come on a little bit too. But, really, ultimately, it's about that defense. They had 3 sacks today. Will had 1. Danielle Hunter had 1. And Derek Barnett had 1. But, you got Danico Autry out there. That secondary with Stingley and Lassiter is really good. So I think it's just taking care of the football. That's kind of what you're talking about. And I don't know, defensively, I think you get after it, man. I think you get after him and just try to make Stroud uncomfortable back there because I think you can get him to force some mistakes. He ran today 4 times for 0 yards. He doesn't have that running component in his game. I know when we think about the playoff game last year, there were a couple runs that were backbreakers, but I think that's more out of the norm. I'm glad they stuck it out with QJ. Yeah, I think we always felt like that was going to happen. It's just on a rookie deal. There was nothing, unless someone wanted to come off you at 1, it just didn't really make sense to move off him. Sanjay Lal loved working with him and really felt like he was progressing, and I think now we're seeing it. 16 touchdowns the last 2 years, exactly. What are you getting out of your wide receiver 2? You're getting 8 touchdowns a year from your wide receiver 2? Not a lot of. If I just go to the stats, although sometimes they take a while to post them, but how many guys have 8 receiving touchdowns right now? That is top 10. He's top 10 in receiving touchdowns. Devontae Adams has 14. Amon-Ra's got 11. Goddard, McBride have 10 apiece, and Jigba has got 10. And then T. Higgins, George Pickens with 9. 8 touchdowns, that's what Puka's got. Feel pretty good about being in that same category when it comes to receiving scores. So way to go, Q. What up, money? What a game. I attended. Had a great presence. I agree. Kenneth Murray sold on that wide open sack. Yeah, Murray's really struggled. Got a cup huge on Saturday. I agree. Going to be at the Texans game. Can't wait to see you out there, Robert. Kenneth Murray. Yeah, that was a rough go. Any word on Vidal? I do not have any word. Yeah, Giro looked great. Call it like this again. 3 injuries today. 4, really. Dante Jackson, St. Juste, Sawyer, and Vidal. Next home game going to be crazy. Yep, I'm with you. Keep the extra OL and tight end going. Susie, proud to call on my team. I don't know how long Jamari's going to be out. Moneyline Bolts versus Denver. There we go. Do they meet the Patriots in the playoffs? I think they could. If the Patriots end up as the 1, getting the win over the Raiders, I think pretty much solidifies them being the 1 seed. So they'll get the bye. But yeah, if the Chargers don't win the division and they're the 5 seed and they end up knocking off the Steelers, then they, unless for whatever reason any of the other wild cards won, they would be the team that would go. Because remember, it just shuffles. The top seed would take the lowest ranked team. So that very well could end up having them in New England for the divisional round. Loved watching this team. I agree. Baisley, happy to have you calling games. Thank you. I appreciate that. Dante had a groin, Donald. That's why he left. Cheers to you, Roger. I'm almost done, by the way. Happy birthday. It's not my birthday, Mike. It was my daughter Parker's, so we were out celebrating her. I did not get barbecue in Texas. I got a filet. It was delicious. I like both barbecues, but Kansas City's pretty special, man. Kansas City, that Joe's was, that was good barbecue. Terry Black's, that's good stuff. Always join at the wrong time. Are we almost done? Is that the problem? We are done. Herbert elbow. Yeah, I think he got dragged down on the turf and just kind of popped open. Minshew tore his ACL today. Ooh, that's terrible. I didn't know that. Hope D-Jax is okay. I agree. Dante Jackson. No news on Kamani. Hello from Hidalgo in Mexico. What's happening? Oh, from Hidalgo, Mexico. Out here on vacation with family, but couldn't miss the game. Love that, Jose. Enjoy your time down there. Enjoy your holiday. Chargers top 5 team in the NFL. I don't know. I mean, I think all you got to do is get in the tournament, man. Get in the tournament and weird things happen. Think about when the Bengals or the Giants or some of these, the Buccaneers, like when these teams as wild cards run to a Super Bowl appearance, it can happen. You just catch fire at the right time. And Herbert's a good enough quarterback to carry a team. So, yeah, I think they could do it. And that would certainly make them a top 5 team. Other than SoFi, where would you like to see them play in wild card week? Well, I think Steelers make the most sense, right? I mean, they already smoked them. And so that they were able to figure out that matchup pretty well at SoFi. So I think that's one that you feel good about. You think about what it looked like against the Jaguars. Not all that exciting to think about that rematch. That rematch, we know how hard it is to play in Denver. It's a very tough venue to play in. So I think when you're talking about the teams that are ahead of them, Patriots, I'd rather face the Patriots than I think I'd probably rather face the Patriots than the Jags. So yeah, I think the way it shakes out right now, sitting in that 5 slot, if you can end up playing, if you can't win the division and host the game and you have to go on the road, then yeah, let's go to Pittsburgh, knock it out. I'd feel pretty good about this pass rush against Aaron Rodgers and his limited mobility. Thanks for keeping me going late here, Seal. I appreciate it, but you and I are both going to bed here in a half second because I am tired. I have hit the wall. I was up at the equivalent of 4 a.m. today out there. I hit the gym at 6 a.m. because we had an early bus over to the... And by the way, that's the other thing. Struggling with 10 a.m. starts. What's coach do? Let's adjust. Leans on some UCLA folks. They do a study. They tell him how he ought to be running practice, when he should have these guys engaged in physical activity and stuff. We've been leaving early for the stadium. I mean, stadium was across the street from our hotel. We left our hotel at 8:30 Texas time. 8:30, 6:30 a.m. LA time. We were on a bus on our way to the stadium. And now we've seen these back-to-back games. Kansas City, 10 a.m. Pacific, and Dallas, 10 a.m. Pacific. And they've won both of them now. That's a good point by you, Javi. That's a good point by you. Lifetime Charger fan. Jay taking family to SoFi for the first time from South Dakota. Oh, beautiful. From Sodak. Right on. Hope you get a good one. Show up next week, please. Be loud. Get there early. Look at that. I love that. Clicks and pops saying make sure you get there early for the tailgate. To our man Fitzer from Sodak. Get out the Thunder Rally. Bolt fans show up. What's the tall can tonight? Javi, it is what is called Breeze. I like them. Chargers Bills AFC title game would be pretty cool, and it'd be a home game as it stands right now for the Chargers. Got to sign Tart. I agree. Pay Tart. Oh wow, am I that far behind? We were talking about that a long time ago. All right, I think the Chargers could do it. Couldn't have said it better. Show up to SoFi. Team has that I believe factor. I agree. Come out here to Marietta. Try Destination Smokehouse. I'd love to do that, Mike. Thank you. I'm excited for Saturday. Getting hot at the right time. Great game. Anybody else thinks Breeze was favoring Dallas on the call? I hope not. Got to see Drew and his boys down on the field. That was cool. I was talking to Nick Hardwick, and then he and Drew caught eyes. It was great to see those two catch up together. Path to the division title, Jay, is just win. That's it, JK. Beat Houston next week, beat Denver in Denver, and you win the division. That simple. Dan is a beast. He's playing much better. Love Q. Chance for the division. You the best money. Thank you, JD. I appreciate it. Just signed, so I don't know how late. I'm pretty late. You'll have to go back and watch it. I'll stop it here and then post it. Zach, casting our boys, getting your input and sites. Love all your after game videos. Thank you, Zach. I appreciate that, dude. Tristan, delusional to think if the O-line plays like this, Herbert plays this well, contend for a title. I agree. Love your attitude. It's a bad attitude, man. It's been fun, man. You win 4 in a row and you feel pretty good. Agree. Harbaugh coach for the year. Ben Johnson, Jesse Minner, Super Bowl would be magnificent. I agree, man. That'd be pretty awesome. A Bears-Chargers Super Bowl would be ridiculous. Isn't a team in the NFL that wants to go against the Chargers D right now? I agree, man. Bolts versus Bears Super Bowl would be fun. Great win either May. Drake May is fantastic. Don't disagree with that. O-line success have more to do with Dallas defense or the execution of the offense? Yes, I do believe it was both there. Torpedo Joe. Thinking of hitting the game Saturday. Any chance I can come through Thunder Alley?